My name is Phil, and I'm one of the co-founders of Phil and Sebastian Coffee Roasters. And I'm super excited to be here today to talk about a coffee from Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a bit different in that the coffee farmers are very small. And when I say small, I mean a tiny little section of land. And they might only have like 100 trees on that land, and they might only produce maybe like 100, 200 kilograms of coffee cherries what grows on the tree per season. So resulting in, maybe 100, 200 pounds of final roasted coffee. So when we're buying our coffee from Ethiopia, we have to buy from many producers. And this particular washing station, which is what gathers all the coffee cherry to process it and turn that into the actual exportable coffee, they work with 460 different small farmers. So when I tell the story of this coffee, it's hard for me to tell the story of the individual farmer because there's so many of them. So what I can tell you about is the place, again, where the coffee farmers of the region deliver the coffee cherry is called Hana, Asrat. And the reason why it's called that is because it's named after the wife of the owner of that washing station. The owner's name is Fekku Jabril, and he's been involved in coffee and producing coffee for many decades. So in Ethiopia, these areas are called kabeles. And that translates in English to the word neighborhood, which is not quite the right image to conjure. You really want to think of it as like, again, this rolling hillside of dense vegetation with coffee trees interspersed in it. So the big thing about this coffee, though, the thing that makes it really distinct and unique is really Fekku Jabril himself. So he, up until this year, which I'll talk about in 1 second, was really involved in the processing and production. So that means he lives in the area, he's visiting the washing station regularly, which actually is not that common for owners of washing stations. They tend to own the property, own the washing station, but not actually be involved in the production. They would hire someone to do it. Few things have changed this year. Some for the better, I think, ultimately from Fekku's point of view, which is really something that matters to me. Fekku has decided to become an exporter of his coffee. So what that means basically is a few years ago, it was impossible. This sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but it was impossible for someone that owned that property to export their own coffee. They needed to channel that coffee through the commodity exchange, but they weren't allowed to directly export it. So that has now changed as of 2018. And now they're able to obtain, someone that owns a washing station is able to obtain an exporting license and export their own coffee. And obviously this is extremely positive. This is a good progressive change in the industry. Additionally, as I understand it, Fekku is spending a lot more time on the business side, so he stepped away from the farm in order to do the exporting side, which means he's left the farm, again, in capable hands, but the coffee is not quite as good as a result of not having Fekku's direct involvement. So we can celebrate and we can be excited for this coffee, and we can be happy for Fekku that he's growing, he's able to make more revenue, well-deserved revenue off his coffee. All those things are really good things. And as with anything in life, there's gray area, right? It's not black and white. We see a positive change for Fekku and a really good thing happening for him, and it may not result in coffee of the same quality, or it might in time. But ultimately, this is generally quite a good thing for farmers in Ethiopia. So we need to not just think of ourselves and the coffee we can get access to and the way our coffees are tasting. We need to think in a bigger way about the well-being of coffee farmers in Ethiopia. Thanks for taking the time to spend some time with me and learn a bit about Ethiopian coffees. And I hope you visit our Simmons location. Is going to be making this espresso for at least a while. And then, of course, you can buy this coffee online to enjoy it at home.